Hey Cotton Balls, I'm Nitrail, and welcome to Nitrail Podfics. Today we will be reading Chapter 2 of The Ghosts of the Gotham Opera House by J_J19 on Control-We-Alt on AO3. Let's get into it. Chapter 2. Jason. Jason remembers his death. He remembers it too well at random times throughout the day. He remembers it in his sleep. It's always there, always waiting, tinged with green. So much is tinged with green these days. Everything blurs together. He doesn't know what's real and what's not. He remembers dying. He remembers the Joker and his mum, and he remembers the bomb. He remembers laying on the ground, beaten and bloody, and knowing that any second Batman was going to come and save the day, and knowing that his dad was going to come and save him. Take him home where Alfred would patch him up, and Dick would let him win whatever games they played to help him forget the pain. Jason remembers his grave. He remembers the panic and the desperation that had given him the strength to break his way out, to dig his way through the mud and the feeling of the rain on his skin. He does not remember anything after that, not really. There are flashes here and there. A woman tending to his wounds. An infant gripping his finger. Violence. He remembers lots of violence. He remembers the violent green of the pit, the way it clung to him, the way it pulled him down, down, down. He drowned. He drowned in that pit, and sometimes he thinks that he never stopped drowning. He came to Gotham with a plan, a hostile takeover. Enough that Bruce couldn't ignore him. He was going to take out the replacement and make Bruce pay for failing. Pay for letting him down when he needed him the most, and then moving on like nothing else had happened. The plan had been to catch Bruce alone. All of the intel that he'd gathered had said that Bruce was operating alone again, that his foolish crusade had cost another young person too much, so Bruce was supposed to be alone. But Jason had gotten to the docks later than he'd wanted to. He had known Bruce was on the ship, examining the boxes of weapons. Jason had set off the bomb, and then he'd watched as Bruce and Dick had pulled themselves out of the harbor. Dick, the brother that Jason wanted to impress more than anything. He had tried so hard to live up to his legacy, who, despite the fight with Bruce and the shitty way the old man had turned over the Robin mantle between them, had done his best to be there for Jason, to make him feel welcome at the manor, to make sure he was properly trained. Jason hated himself for his weakness. He hadn't let himself think about Dick before, or Alfred, the good parts of his life before it was taken from him. Dick was an unexpected presence, and it meant that Jason had to be careful, because while he had had years of training with the League of Assassins now, and the extra training that Talia had provided him with, he knew that his brother had continued as well. Now he'd left Gotham and made a name for himself in Bloodhaven and in New York with the Titans. Goddamn golden boy, Jason curses to himself as he flees across the rooftops with the two vigilantes in pursuit. Always so in sync with each other, even after all this time. There's green tinging his vision, but Jason has a mission tonight and he can't let the rage take over. He's got a crate full of kryptonite to take for himself and a clown to hunt. Sometimes time blurs for Jason. His thoughts don't always feel like his own. Days, weeks, months, who really knows? He feels like the zombie that he technically is. All he knows is that he had the clown's blood on his hands and that the bat has been out of town. His plans are still moving smoothly. He's taken out a good chunk of business from Black Mask, and his name is getting around. His safe house has been compromised, and he needs a new spot to lay low, somewhere that no one in Gotham would think to go. The Gotham Opera House has been abandoned for years, shut down after the tragic murders of the Wayne family outside its doors. Some people consider it cursed, a place where nothing but tragedy strikes. It isn't hard for Jason to slip inside through one of the boarded-up windows, his feet crunched on the broken glass below. There's a twinge of pain in his shoulder. He doesn't have a clear memory of how he got it. It's been years since Jason had last been in the Opera House, but not much has seemed to change. Even when he was living on the streets, before Bruce had taken him in, it had been a safe place. He'd used it time and time again when he needed to hide from the less savory inhabitants of Crime Alley. He makes his way through the backstage area of the theater and out onto the stage through the remains of the curtains. The night vision of his helmet gives the room a bit of a spooky feel, and if he was anyone else he'd probably be creeped out. He makes his way to the edge of the stage and drops down to sit with his feet hanging over the orchestra pit. He reaches back to remove his helmet. "Oh, hi," a voice calls out from above. Jason is back on his feet in seconds, his guns in his hand as he looks up for the source. "Who's there?" he calls. "Me," the voice says again. It sounds on the younger side. Jason finds the source in one of the boxes. A teenage boy is leaning over the railing of one of the boxes. Jason curses and lowers his gun. The last thing he expected was to find someone else stupid enough to hide out in this cursed place. "What the hell are you doing here?" Jason puts one of his guns back in the holster and pulls out his grappling instead. I was gonna sleep when I heard you." "You were going to sleep?" "In the definitely haunted opera house." "Oh, it's an opera house?" the teen asks, leaning further over the railing to look around to the room. Jason doubts he can actually make anything out in the dark, though. "Can you not fall to your death in front of me?" Jason asks. "What?" The teen stands up straight. "Oh, do you have night vision in your helmet? That's cool. Those glowing eyes are kind of creepy, though. Don't you scare people?" That's kind of the point." "Oh, it is? Are you like one of those vengeful vigilantes, then? I have a friend like that." "Are you on drugs or something, kid? I'm not a vigilante." "Well, superheroes definitely shouldn't be trying to scare people." "I'm not a fucking hero either, kid." "Well, you're clearly not a bad guy, or you would have shot me." "I'm literally the fucking Red Hood," Jason says in exasperation. "I don't know what that means." The kid shrugs and leans over the railing again. Jason shoots his grappling up towards the box and lets it pull him up to the railing. He grabs the teen's shoulder and pushes him further back into the box. The kid takes a few steps back, but the sudden movement doesn't seem to have knocked him off balance or anything. Jason drops down into the box and crosses his arm. "I'm a fucking crime lord, you idiot," he tells the teen. Now that he's up there, he takes a look around the box that the kid seems to have claimed as his own. Nothing seems to have been too disturbed, so the boy couldn't have been up here too long. Jason pulls a light stick out of one of his jacket's many pockets and turns it on before tossing it to the boy, who catches it easily despite his obvious surprise as he blinks to adjust to the light. The night vision turns off automatically in Jason's helmet, so he gets his bearings pretty quickly as he takes a better look at the boy in front of him. He guesses that he's in his late teens. His clothes seem mostly clean, but he's clearly been injured pretty recently. A gash on his temple, that's probably only a couple of days old, but still has dried blood around it, and the yellowing on his cheek is definitely a healing bruise. A runaway most likely then, probably from an abusive home. There are red headphones on his ears. They look expensive, just like the watch on his wrist. "Oh, that's cool," the teen says as he examines the light stick. "Cool?" Jason crosses his arms and leans back against the railing. "Yeah, I mean, not the crime part, I guess. Crime isn't cool, you know, or drugs." The teen puts his hands on his hips and straightens his posture. "Don't do drugs and stay in school, friends," he says in a mock deep voice. Jason is absolutely baffled by this whole situation. He's met some weird fucking people in his time, but the other teen seems completely unfazed by meeting a crime lord in a haunted opera house. "Okay, so you were definitely on drugs or something," Jason decides. "You're the crime lord, man. I'm just a normal homeless teenager." "Please, you've been homeless for like, what, 1 night? 2 at most?" "Says who? Your clothes are clean and no one has stolen your rich kid shit yet." Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on a second. I'm definitely not a rich kid. You're also not from Gotham, and you haven't been killed yet." "I can hold my own, thank you very much." "This isn't New York, kid." "I'm not from New York." He lies pointlessly in what is clearly a New York accent. Even an idiot could tell this kid is not local. "Did you say this is Gotham?" "Wait, did you not know where you are? How did you end up in the crime capital of the world and not know where you are?" On accident?" "Jesus Christ, you're going to be dead within the week." Jason brings a hand up to run through his hair in frustration, before remembering that his helmet is still on. He'd planned to make the Opera House his new base of operations till he could settle somewhere more permanently, but he can't do that with this teen hanging around. He looks closely at the teen, and a short familiarity nagging at him. "What's your name?" "You know, I don't think I'm supposed to give my name out to strangers. I'm not a kid, so obviously you're not going to kidnap me or anything. But, well, I guess I could still get kidnapped anyway. You're a crime lord, you said so yourself, and I don't think it's safe to give you my name." The teen sounds like he could ramble on forever if Jason doesn't step in. It hits him then why Peter seems familiar. His hair and eyes are the wrong color, but looking at him closely, Jason can almost see bits of Dick, bits of his brother, in the teen's appearance and mannerisms. Jason reaches back and unlatches his helmet before pulling it off and holding it under his arm. He's still got his domino mask on, but he hopes that removing the mask will help. "Oh," the teen says, a frown on his face. "You're my age." "I'm definitely older than you," Jason says. "Not by much, if at all. Look, just tell me your name. I'm a Gothamite born and raised. You look like you need help, and I know some places where you can get it safely. Like a shelter?" "There's some pretty okay ones. The Martha Wayne Foundation is all about helping the poor unfortunate souls or some shit." Jason shrugs. "The shelters aren't always the best, but Bruce pours enough money into them that it's at least safer than living on the streets." "I think I'm legally 17, the teen says. "I'm not exactly looking to get on Child Services radar." "Legally 17? Jason asks. The teen watches him for a moment, eyes calculating. He seems laid back, but if Jason looks close enough, there's something more to the boy, like he sees more than he says. "It's complicated. I mean, I guess I was technically dead for like a little bit, and like some people did some time travel stuff, and now I'm alive, and like you don't age when you're dead, so I was born 22 years ago, but I'm still only 17. Almost 18 really, so like it barely matters," he explains. "You were dead," Jason repeats. His eyes dart back to the boy's hair, but there are no white streaks mixed in with the brown curls. There's no green to his eyes. "Temporarily?" "Right." "You don't sound that shocked. Is coming back from the dead like a thing? Because it's a thing where I'm from, like for a lot of people." His head tilts just the slightest bit after he says that, like he's listening for something. "It's not common," Jason settles on. "But it's not unheard of? There have been heroes that have come back to life." The teen pauses, listening again. Jason eyes the headphones. "Green Arrow and Superman? Dude, what's up with those names? Green Arrow should just call himself Robin Hood or something. I mean, come on." Jason snorts at that. He'd said the same thing once to Oliver when Bruce had brought him to visit the Watchtower. "How did you know about that?" "Oh, dude, should I not?" "It's not common knowledge." "Oh, weird. I guess that I just heard it somewhere." The teen shrugs, and Jason is pretty sure he's going to get a migraine from this interaction. There's clearly something going on with this kid. His similarities to Dick can't be coincidental, and the way he casually talks about coming back to life is just, well, it's weird. The kid is weird, and Jason doesn't have the brain power to deal with all of that right now. "Look," he says, dragging a hand over his face. "It's late tonight, too late for you to be wandering the streets, and the shelters won't open their doors until morning anyway, so tonight I'll let you stay here with me, and then in the morning, I'll drop you at a shelter. Got it?" "You know, I was technically here first, so shouldn't I be the one that gets to stay?" "No." "I'll tell you my name if you let me stay." "I don't need to know your name that badly." "I won't get in your way at all. I'll stay up here in my box, and you can have the whole rest of the opera house. Well, I guess I'll also need to use the restroom too. Do you think the bathrooms still work here?" "Please just stop talking," Jason snaps. The teen cuts himself off from saying anything else, pressing his lips together. He looks a bit like a kicked puppy, a bit like Dick when Jason didn't want to go along with his schemes. Jason curses everything in his head as he takes a deep breath. There's no green tingeing his vision right now, at least. "What is your name?" "Peter Parker," the teen says, clearly having forgotten his earlier attempt to use it as a bargaining chip. If Jason hadn't been trained as well as he would have been startled hearing his own middle name from this near copy of his brother. "You're 17? Jason asks. "Probably, yes," Peter says with an apologetic shrug. 17 is definitely too old to be Dick's kid, but hadn't he mentioned something about time travel? "Where are your parents?" "Dead." The answer is somewhat expected, but Peter's voice doesn't have much pain when he says it, so it's not recent. "Who's responsible for you?" The question makes Peter seem to curl in on himself, becoming smaller, the grief visible on his face. "No one. Not anymore. Not here." "Something recent, then." "All right, then I guess you're stuck with me until we figure out something else." Jason hates himself for this softness, this weakness. "Really?" Peter perks up a bit at that, a look of surprise on his face. Jason nods and moves away from the railing to drop himself onto the floor. "We'll sleep in shifts." Jason considers the teen's clothes, just a hoodie and sweatpants, and the way Peter seems to be shivering just a bit in the cold. He shrugs off his leather jacket and throws it at the kid's face. You go first. Don't you need this? Peter asks, though he's already pulling the jacket on. It is in my body armor. Jason leans back against the wall and crosses his arms. Now, go back to sleep. Right, yeah, okay. He goes to the corner of the box and lays down on the floor, folding his arms to use as a pillow. Jason shifts to make himself a bit more comfortable as he settles in for a long night. Hey Cotton Balls, that's the end of Chapter 2. Have a good day, and thank you for listening. See you again in Chapter 3.